In this video, I will present examples on how you can utilize ChatGPT to document controls for managing operational risks. Controls are the most important aspect of managing risk. However, in my experience with clients, I still find that controls are poorly documented. So in this video, I can share some practical examples of documenting good quality controls using ChatGPT. I am Manoj Kulwal, and I'm co-founder and chief risk officer at Risk Spotlight. At Risk Spotlight, our AI practice specializes in generative AI technologies and how these can enhance the productivity and quality of risk management activities in financial services industry. Here, I am logged into ChatGPT. First, let me start by asking ChatGPT regarding the best practices for documenting operational risk controls. So let me enter that prompt and click on the return sign here. Please note that I am using ChatGPT Plus for this video. If you are using the free version of ChatGPT, then your responses may be lower quality than the responses you see in this video. Based on our extensive testing and analysis, we found that ChatGPT Plus provides much better quality responses for operational risk management related topics. So here in the output, you can see ChatGPT is providing best practices on documenting controls. So it's talking about comprehensive identification of risk, clear definition of controls, the risk and control mapping, standardized documentation process, regularly updating and reviewing the controls, ensuring that the documentation is accessible and available to the right people. It should be integrated with enterprise risk management. We should leverage technology as much as possible. Compliance and regulatory alignment, stakeholder engagement, performance metrics and reporting, and continuous improvement. So these are some generic guidance around best practices for documenting operational risk controls. ChatGPT has provided very high-level responses on documentation of controls. Let me now ask a very specific question on best practices for documenting a specific operational risk control. So in this case, I will enter this prompt where I'm asking what are the best practices for documenting a specific operational risk control, and then give me guidance on the topics that are important when documenting a specific control. So let me hit return. And now it'll go into the guidance of how do you document a specific single control in your control library. So it's talking about the control description being clear and concise, capturing the risk which is being mitigated by the control, the objective of the control, ownership, the various activities which are performed as part of the control, the type of control, whether it's preventative, detective, corrective, the date of implementation, the documentation of the procedures related to the control, the tools and resources which are used as part of control implementation, what are the KPIs associated with the control, the reporting and monitoring, training and awareness, the review and the update procedures, compliance and regulatory considerations, and so on. One of the key aspects of documenting a control is the control activities. So let me now ask ChatGPT for best practices on documenting control activities. So in this case, I will enter a prompt, which is what are the best practices for documenting the control activities. So let me hit return. And now it is specifying that the documentation around the activities, they need to be clear and detailed. They need to be documented as step-by-step procedures. The responsibilities for each step should be assigned clearly. The tools and resources utilized for the different activities should be documented. The timing and frequency, integration with other processes, the alignment with the risk, the performance indicators, the documentation standards, and so on. So these are the best practices to use when documenting the activities related to a specific control. Now, I want to check a real-life control content against these best practices and get feedback from ChatGPT on how I can improve the quality of the documentation of control activities. So let me paste a prompt here. In this prompt, I'm specifying that I want ChatGPT to utilize these best practices it has shared around documenting control activities and provide feedback on this control. In this case, the control on which I want feedback is called Conduct Periodic Security Awareness Training for Employees, where I have documented the different activities related to this particular control. And you will notice that I have also introduced some spelling mistakes in this case. So in this case, implemented is spelled incorrectly, program is spelled incorrectly, mandatory is spelled incorrectly. And then I want ChatGPT to help me improve the quality of the documentation of this control, but also remove any English spelling or grammar errors in my control documentation. So let me hit return and get feedback from ChatGPT on this specific control. So here it's now providing some feedback. So it's saying that, yeah, the title and the description is very well articulated, but it's providing me a suggestion that consider adding more details about the content of the training, such as specific topics or modules covered. It's also providing then additional suggestions around the step-by-step procedures, the responsibility assignment, the tools and resources. So if I can specify any platform or software which is used for conducting the security training, the timing and frequency, integration with other processes, alignment with risk. So it has gone through each of those best practice items and it's providing suggestions on where I can improve the documentation on my control. Next, I want to see if ChatGPT was to write the content for this control in alignment with best practices, then what would this look like? So let me paste a prompt to do this. So in this case, I'm asking ChatGPT to rewrite and extend the content of the control I have shared to incorporate all the suggestions it has highlighted, and it can generate new content wherever needed. So for example, if it needs to mention that the control should be implemented by the information security department, then it can generate a name of that department, and I can later update that to the real department name in my organization. But I at least want to see what the control documentation would look like in full with all the best practice suggestions incorporated. So let me hit return. Now you can see the revised and extended version of the control content, where it has updated the control description, the content of the training, the responsibility. So this is where you can see it's generated a name of a department called Cybersecurity Department, headed by the CISO. And then, of course, in your case, you can then copy and paste this and update that name of the department to whatever that department is called in your organization. But we ask ChatGPT to create these names so that at least we can see what the documentation would look like with these department names. Utilizing the feedback from ChatGPT can significantly improve the quality of control documentation in your organization if all control owners can utilize ChatGPT to review their existing controls and update these based on the feedback. What I have shared so far in this video will work for a small number of controls. However, if your organization is utilizing a risk management software where all the controls are already documented, then there is a better way to evaluate the quality of control content using ChatGPT. In this example, let's assume you have hundreds or thousands of controls already documented in your risk management software. And let's also assume that you are not satisfied with the quality of control documentation and want to evaluate these based on best practices and provide your control owners with recommendation on how the control documentation can be improved. To achieve this, our AI practice can develop a software program that will utilize ChatGPT using an API functionality. This program is easy to develop and can be built in matter of hours or days and does not require many weeks or months to develop. This program will read every control from the control library and evaluate the documented content against best practices. You can also customize the best practices recommended by ChatGPT in this program if you want to add additional criteria that are specific to your organization or specific to certain types of controls such as IT controls. This program, when executed, will produce output in your preferred format such as Excel or a database table. The output will consist of the current control documentation, feedback from ChatGPT on the current content, and the revised control content that aligns with the defined best practices. This will be stored outside your risk management software, as the control owner should review the ChatGPT feedback and update the controls in the risk management software. So the program can create Excel files that contain controls and the feedback and email these to the respective control owners. Once the control owners review the feedback, they can update the content in the risk management software. And assuming they do this, then within a few days or weeks, the quality of control documentation will significantly get enhanced. Please note that this can be done on small number of controls like few hundred controls or very large number of controls like 40,000 to 100,000 controls. If you want to explore the topics covered in this video further, then please send us an email at ai@riskspotlight.com. Over the past 9 months, we have conducted in-depth analysis of 100+ use cases for utilizing generative AI for operational risk management, and we are very keen to share this with your team. Generative AI can significantly enhance the productivity and quality of risk management if implemented with the right guidance. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time and attention.